And a very hello and welcome to the Wake Movement. I'm your host, Thomas Wake. Waking up the collective consciousness. So lost. This is what I've come to as of recently. It's a real doohickey. So I pretty much came to the realization, this is coming from a Christian background, who with an undergrad in religious studies because of a coming to Jesus experience, a master's in theology, a year of priestly formation in the Catholic religious order of priests, and then studying and continuously studying, looking into astrology, I come to find out that not just a Christian myth or story, religious narrative, but also the Hebrew Jewish one is astrotheological in its nature. These are exoteric teachings, is when people take these literally. The high priests, the ones that created these things, know better too. They know the real meanings. The esoteric, eso for inner. These secrets are kept in the inner circle. The sacred sciences of Pythagorean schools, astronomy, astrology, was the last one they would teach. And music, with its 7 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Back to do. The 7 heavenly luminaries, the 7 classical planets, from the moon out to Saturn, the Saturn moon matrix. I believe Saturn has the moon as a satellite. Father Time, keeping the illusion Maya in at play. The Kabbalists believe that the Aquarian age that we're going into is this 7th heaven, the 7th day of the week, Saturday, where you rest, because Saturn rules it with his scythe and his sickle and its death. So they think that you shouldn't do anything on that day because it won't end up well. It doesn't have good energy behind it. Also, Mars' day, Tuesday, Martes. The Kabbalistic Orthodox faith doesn't see Tuesday as a fortuitous day for doing much. Nor Monday, to be honest with you. They always give the moon a bad rap. The Death Star. And they blow up the moon in many movies. Moods controlled by the moon. The last place that we got dropped off from, the scooping beak of the stork, the mother who cradles us, drops us off into this mother Earth. Mother Moon. We get the moon in 3 stages: as a maiden, when she's waxing from a crescent full of potential, like a chalice, a cup, to come to be, when it's half, that's it as a mother, and then when it's getting fuller, that's it as a crone, which is like an older witch lady, who comes from Kronos, who is old man time. Well, there it's old woman time. Also the weaver of webs, usually of silver thread, because silver goes to the moon, gold to the sun, Mercury to Mercury, go figure. Bronze or copper to Venus, tin to Jupiter, lead to the ruler of this earth, carbon, Saturn, the 6x6x6 cube, 666, equaling 18, which is Saturnian thing, but 18 is the tarot card for the moon, because we have 18 months of the nodal return, which is Rahu and Ketu, the north node and the south node. in astrology, which is the serpent eating its own tail, the Ouroboros of the moon's traversing in relationship to Earth and the sun. The Ouroboros can also be Draco, which circles around the northern axis, the axis point being our spine. The axis point is the spine of Earth. So just as we want to rise up the holy chrism in us, I got a Mike Tyson lisp all of a sudden. In us, the caduceus on the staff, the battling serpents, red and blue energy, black and white, cranes of Isis and Nephthys. They go up the Shashuma, which is the spine, which is a working of the sun and the moon marriage, Mars and Venus marriage, Jupiter and Saturn marriage. Mercury's the conductor, where we're crowned with the sun and Saturn together, Chronos and the corona. Saturn is exalted in Libra. Libra is like marriage and the judge. And who would rather be a judge than Saturn? And dishes karma, in charge of our dharma. Alright, went on a little bit of an astrological tangent. I say that to say this. They know, they keep us believing that these stories are real, historical, and they use it against us. Mainly, the religion that the major world religions come out of. What did Christianity come out of? What did Islam come out of? So we're worshiping that God, not the gods. So, okay, you're a small Judean sect who is a remnant from Cana in Babylon and Samaria, They say that Abraham, who they say was the first astrologer, was from in Sumer, one of the oldest places we could find over there. So he's not even from Judea, Israel, Palestine, where the Philistines, when you see the Philistines or the Palestine, that means the Palestines in the Bible. So, how do you take out the Romans when you are a minority and their power is greater? Infiltrate their higher ranks, intermarry, and then get them to get rid of their gods and insert your gods. If you want, the first thing you would do when you go into another town and conquer them is go to their temple and break their statues and whatnot, because you demoralize them. The storming of the Capitol, it was a desecration of the temple, or holy temple of democracy. Every time the Congress meets there, it's a desecration of our democracy. It's a Masonic ritual is the desecration of the temple. The Masons, what? The Masons of the temple of who? Solomon. So we have this certain people with their Kabbalist mysticism inherent and central to the theology of Freemasonry, who are all about rebuilding Solomon's temple. What Zionism is all about is a Kabbalistic centered Jewish Masonic ploy to rebuild the temple in Israel and to have a one world government that comes out of it. And they took over Egypt, and they love using Egyptian symbolism to plaster all over our dollar bills and the inside of Masonic lodges. In the back of the Masonic Bible, they have Ra, Osiris, who is the Orion constellation, who is Moses going up the mountain, the Fool on the hill, above the 12 constellations, the Joker riding on a unicycle. I saw a kid doing a wheelie today. I'm like, that's very Orion. 1 foot dipping into the Eridanus is the constellation. That foot is Regal, the star there. It's the bark of Ra. Ba is soul. Ka is spirit. Amen Ra is the son of God. Amen's Ra and Ka. America. Masons created our country. Americo Vespucci, if it even existed, you don't name somebody after, you usually don't name a country after somebody's first name. So what's the name of this great country? Bob. Usually it's after a last name. Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, very much built using the map of Egypt, who used the map of the skies. Because as above, so below. So what you want to do is you want to match up below with above, in with out, heaven and earth. The whole 6-pointed star is about heaven, the upward triangle, fire and air of the Father and the Holy Spirit, earth and water, the chalice, the feminine. We bring them together. We have our 6-pointed cube with the middle dot being the 7th, completing our 7 heavenly luminaries, our 7 chakras, our 7 colors, from red to blue shift, from morning to night. So, Judaism created Christianity, and that we need to remember that. And the setting of this creation had a Roman influence, who was influenced by the Greeks, as were the Hellenized Jews of intelligentsia in this area of Mesopotamia before the Roman invasion and destruction of their temple. So they had to figure out what's their religion going to look like without their temple there anymore. Ideally, they just worship the Caesar as God, give unto Caesar's what Caesar's, make them passive, turn the other cheek. So they used Judaism to subdue the pagan heathens, those with other gods. Pagan heathen, what, a pagan, the god Baal? The name of Lord or Master in Hebrew is Baal. That's why we have all these, Baal is in the name of many temples. It means like the home of Beth. It means the dwelling place of God. El, who is Saturn. The Elohim, the 6 planets that he rules. Wherever you see El, they're a servant of El, Saturn. The name of Saturn in Mesopotamia, Babylon, was El. Ba-El would be the soul of Saturn, which is actually the bull of Taurus. We have Bella, beautiful. Taurus, ruled by Venus. Venusian things are beautiful. But it's also the 5 senses and the 5-pointed star, which she could also be a fierce warrior princess, like Athena. And so they have the 5-pointed star that they use on military stuff. Or invert it in the pentagram, where we have the Pentagon. And Washington, D.C. was all built with this occult knowledge, written into the very architecture of the city. So it's nice that we're waking up to this, so hopefully we can use it. But a big psyop is the Christian psyop. They have us, I say us, even though I have Jewishness in me through Poland, Ashkenazi, Khazarian, somehow claiming a stake on the Holy Land. I invite you to look up Jacob Frankism and Sabbatai Levi. They took Kabbalah and turned it, not because the left-hand path is the dark side, where you like exorcise demons and stuff and conjure them and banish them, and you're shadow working. But they came to some theology that either the world has to be all good for the Messiah to come, their Mashiach, their Yeshua ben David, Joshua ben Yosef, I think was the first one, who I think to them was almost like a false Messiah. I don't know, but it's this stupid stuff that's getting used and taken literally, and our foreign affairs and policies are lined up for them. So we're supporting freaking Israel because we think that if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed, while they're committing genocide and carrying out their ethno-fascist apartheid state. Like British white European colonialization. And they have the Christian church singing songs of praises because they got them to worship their God. No, but what about all the anti-Semitism? You want an enemy. That's magic work. You bring up yourself as left-hand path. Bring up yourself a golem. You create an enemy for you, an adversary. So it gives you tension, friction, which is the only way that creation, forward progress happens. Now, forward and backwards, when you get to a certain stage in the Kabbalah tree of life, 10, you can unite fully with God and disintegrate your personality. Or you can go to the step 11, where you become a God yourself. And then you start creating with the 12. You got your own 12 disciples. They don't want us to know that. That's why they have 9/11. 9 is Mars, destruction is the end. 11, the age of Aquarius, the 11th sign. Also an arc, ruled by Mercury, who rules the Gemini twins, who is the archway into Cancer, where we have the bright star Isis, or Sirius, the dog star, Major Cana, where we have the Canaanites. And what did Yahweh say to Moses? Go in there and wipe out all remembrance of them, even their children and livestock. Is that a God you want to get behind, who hates Gentiles? But through a human sacrifice to himself, he grafts you on as an afterthought to the body of the chosen. We gotta get out of this mentality. Thomas Wake.